Welcome to this episode of I Start First podcast for women who start. And today I am so excited for you because you're going to learn from one of my closest friends, a total boss diva, founder of her own fitness programs for Northington Fitness, and also owner of Protein House in Gilbert, Arizona, Karey Northington. We're going to talk about all kinds of extraordinary things, including building a debt-free digital business, why you should be a master and not a flea market salesman, why being a stretchy pants model is not going to work for you in business, and many, many more awesome things. Get ready for this $10,000 training, ladies. Hi, loves. Welcome to I Start First podcast, the show for boss babes who start ideas, businesses, dreams, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Alinka Cullinan, founder of I Start First, speaker, author, and business coach, aka Queen of Pushing Boss Babes Off the Ledge. On this show, I chat with epic humans who are guaranteed to uplevel your business and mindset. Are you ready to sparkle up? Let's go. All right, ladies, welcome to yet another episode of I Start First podcast. I'm your host, Alinka Cullinan, and I am telling you, you are in for such a special treat today because the woman we have as a guest, she's one of my closest friends. She's a total unicorn. She's an absolute boss diva, and I cannot wait for you to hear her story. Hi, Karey.
Hi, Alinka. I'm so excited to be here. You are so sweet with your intros. I always get 10 degrees warmer in my heart when I hear you introduce me for anything.
I love it.
Talk with you.
Yeah. Well, so Karey, it's Karey Northington, everybody. And I will let her, since she's such a boss diva and she has like a whole empire behind her, I'm going to let her catch you up on all the things she's doing in the world.
Gosh, I feel like I need to start. I'm going to make it short, but I began everything in nursing and ended up leaving nursing, staying home, raising my son. And that is part of the story that's very enticing to people because some people get stuck in careers that they don't necessarily love. They want to make a change. They want to switch, but they're scared to. They don't have the peer support. I was out of working for X number of years until my son went back to school and really fell into a passion for fitness and coaching and more preventative care. And that's when I started to work on the digital business and build it.
I love it. I love it. And so just tell everybody today, what are you like? What's the official titles, I guess? What are you running?
I know what I'm running now is Karey Northington Fitness. Northington Fitness and Nutrition has a studio. We have a physical location. I'm running Protein House. It's a franchise. I run the Gilbert location. That's a fast casual dining concept. And then I do consulting to help other women get to the point where they can completely support themselves and have even more on their own digital platforms.
I love it. I hope you're paying attention, ladies. She went from nursing to being a stay-at-home mom to total business mogul. So nothing should stop you. But I do want to go back to, the digital business because obviously, and you and I had these conversations before, so many women let them hold, let finances hold them back. They're saying, I don't have the capital. I don't have the cash to start. So how did you go about that? What's different about you?
It's so funny that people say that all the time because I built the digital business completely debt-free. And that is, one of my primary presentations that I do is building an online debt-free business. And there are so many tricks and tools and apps out there that cost probably pennies. I mean, if you rerouted your Starbucks money, you can build your own digital business.
I love it. I love it. So ladies, give up your Starbucks for about a
I
year.
mean, or yeah, your nails. I don't know. It's pennies, and I'd love to dive into some of the platforms that I know that are really inexpensive and how to get things going. A
Yeah,
lot of
no, please
people,
do.
yeah,
Please do. Share some tools.
I
Take
would
some
love that.
notes, everybody. Take some
Yeah, everyone
notes.
write this down. So at one point, it seemed to have an online business, you need to have this big flashy website. And I think that that was the big barrier because you
Mhm.
would get quotes about websites, and some of the custom websites are rather expensive, and people get a little hesitant at the possibility of maxing out their credit cards. But now with the different digital forms and tools like Squarespace, they're really user friendly. You can find tutorials. Any of the digital forms like email me form, Woofu, Typeform, those are all really popular so that you can get the intake from potential clients. And then my biggest strategy is everyone's like, well, how do you get the clients when you set all
Mhm.
of these things up? Because I've seen the mistake made. People spend so much money on this gorgeous website. Maybe they do put it on a credit card and then they expect just all this traffic.
Yeah.
And
If you
that's
build it, they will come,
yeah, I always
right?
joke about that. This is not the field of dreams. And so if you build it, they will not come. You're going to have to go and find them. And the thing that the most common mistake I see people make is spending a lot of money on also getting leads when there's a huge pool of leads in their warm market right now, because most of us have already been on social media for some
Mhm.
time, especially Facebook. And I have tons of clients that want to do separate things and they don't want to share with their inner circle what they're actually doing. And that's probably the number one mistake I see people make, because those people are the ones that already trust them and would be more willing to hear about purchasing.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, you and I had this conversation, right? If you can't be found, you can't be seen. So, ladies, if nobody in your circle knows what you're doing, that's kind of tragic, actually. And these people, I mean, this is your biggest support group. And if you're going to lose some of them in the process, which is number one fear that I hear, it's actually perfect. You don't want those people, anyways. I mean, when you grow, you're bound to lose some of the people. You're bound to have some people kind of fall behind, and that's okay, because there'll be completely new women, who will come into your life and elevate you to the next level and will push you and cheer you on. So it's so important what Karey just said, and I hope you wrote down those platforms, because absolutely the website is great, but there are millions of other options and ways to get intakes, to get clients in. So when you work with when the clients come to you, and I would say you and I had this conversation before, especially early stages, right? For some of these
Mm-hmm.
ladies who are just starting out and the clients start coming in, um, what are some tips you can give them, nurturing your early clients? Because everybody wants
Yeah.
thousands.
So that's oh, gosh, I'm glad that you touched on that. So as you're bringing people in, you're just starting this, and whatever your service is, I do some fitness coaching that's just digital, but I'll also do calls because there's so much more around food that's emotional
Mhm.
and different things that we may have to dive deeper into. When you first start out, there's going to be a learning curve in coaching.
Mhm.
And if you've never even had a coach, I would suggest starting there before you want to have this business, because you really want to see behind the curtain. Like, is this something that I would want to do? Because it almost seems it's desirable to be a high ticket coach. And I don't know if you can put the quotes on when we don't have the video, but
Oh,
you
we
need
will have a video. The video
oh
will be.
good. Because you
She
need
just
to
did quotes.
air quotes. You need to have a service and a value in that service to command prices, and that would be twofold, right? The knowledge and the experience are two things that you want to have to do that. So when you take on your first couple clients, the way that I help my business consultant clients do so is come up with a model, have introductory pricing, have your first few, stop at maybe two, maybe three, and work through that process with them, survey them, get feedback, let them know that part of the promotional rate or the offer is for their feedback and for them to be engaging in the program as such, so that you can get it very streamlined,
Mhm.
revise if needed, just hone your skill, hone your craft, and then start adding people in.
Yeah.
If you start your online business and you're like, oh my gosh, if I do not make it in 3 days, I'm going to be kicked out in the street. You're just not going to be able to think clearly, right? Like your
Yeah.
capacity for creativity, for connection, it's just not going to be there. You're going to be scrambling hair on fire. So
Yeah.
that's a huge tip that I have. And you do want to start with people that you know.
Yeah.
And if you do lose people, it's amazing to me. Women, and I say mostly women, but this applies to both sexes. I work primarily with women in the business realm. They won't care if their friend doesn't like their outfit, but it's this huge crisis if they don't, want to buy their product, or they don't think that it's something that they would need. That's okay. Everyone has their own opinion.
Yep. Oh, I literally got goosebumps on that. You guys better listen because, yeah, what she just said, it's a $10 million training right here. Yes, the introductory pricing, the not being so offended and taking everybody personally at the beginning is key, but also listening to your audience. I mean, Karey, you nailed it on the head that you have to listen, you have to take feedback, you have to evolve as a coach. And you and I talk about it all the time. We grow and evolve. If you're just stuck in your own way, it's going to be really hard, whether it's your first 3 clients or the next 30. So you have to kind of evolve with your audience and also learn and gain that experience in the process. So, but of course, everybody doesn't want the 3 clients, right? They want the thousands. And,
Yeah, right.
is there such thing in your opinion as too many clients? Do you see that? Do you see some type of burnout when it's just becoming a factory?
Well, I don't even see it so much as I definitely see burnout, but the bigger problem is, and I think of it, and I can relate this to an example at my restaurant. There's a labor percent we shoot for.
Mhm.
Below that, too low, the customer experience is sacrificed. So
Mhm.
you have to think of that all the time. If you have so many clients, you want every single one of your clients to feel like your only client. If
Mhm.
you have so many clients that they can never book with you, that they can't get a hold of you, that your response time is far out of the realm of 24 hours, that you're having a hard time keeping track of what they're up to, you need to slowly add so that you can see what your bandwidth is without sacrificing the guest experience. Because here's the thing, by far, your best referrals, the people who will just call you out of nowhere and purchase without having to work the entire sales funnel where they get something free from you, they listen to some podcasts, they learn more about you, they buy one little tiny thing to dip their toe in, make sure you're not a
Mhm.
crazy person. Those, the people who will buy directly immediately the service are the word of mouth referrals.
Mm.
I will say that right now, Alinka and I were just having a side conversation. She had somebody that she's speaking very highly of. I don't need to check them out. That as
Mhm.
soon as she says green light, I'm like, cool, this person's in. So
Mhm.
you want to think about what are you putting out there that potentially is going to circulate into an area of more of your ideal clients, because birds of a feather flock together. So if you have
Amen.
one ideal client, they have friends that are also your ideal client. And that's a good thing on Facebook and even on Instagram. Instagram seems to be more people follow each other and they may not technically know each other. But
Mhm.
Facebook, it does feel, even though it is, I get it, guys, dated. Oh, millennials don't like it. But the
Yeah.
cool part about Facebook is they're people that you know. And when you look at their friends list, those are people that they probably actually know. So
Mhm.
you can kind of go in and see who could potentially be your ideal client. Do not message them and say, hi, you're my ideal client, I'm selling something. Just friend request people that would be in the same network and start planting some seeds.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So much gold in there. I mean, absolutely. And I hope you all paid attention to that $1,000 marketing tip that on Facebook, people actually are in warm engagement pods, right? Because they naturally follow people who they know and that's their actual friends. Instagram, not so much. 100% agree on that. But it's such a great marketing tool for you, especially when you're starting out and sort of growing more organically. Maybe you don't spend that much money on marketing as in dollars. You definitely want that word of mouth campaign. You definitely want to keep your integrity very, very high. And you just brought up something at the very end that made me laugh because we laugh about it all the time. Do not message people and tell them buy from me. Can we talk
Yeah.
a little?
Oh my gosh. Right.
Can we
So,
talk a little bit about
yeah.
that, because that's a hot button of mine. So,
And also, I just like to say, as you're doing this, right, you're getting people in the beginning. This may seem elementary to some of you. Like, okay, I have some people coming in, but this is where the first people coming in, you get some cash flow into your business. You do not run to Louis Vuitton and buy your first bag.
yes.
Yeah, you gain some of this, you get it, and then you put some aside for marketing. You put some aside for ads. You put some in a spot for somebody to help organize your website to be more SEO friendly and like search engines and things like that. Because truly you want to get to the point where you're like, okay, I am advertising this many dollars. It is this cost per each lead that comes in my door. I convert this many leads. And now it's a numbers game. And I don't know about you, but from nursing, from science, I love me some math. Like I want to just know that like, if I do this, this will happen. So you're taking some of that aside. If you're just randomly DMing people, it sounds like a great idea, right? It sounds like, oh my gosh, I have this assignment to connect with 10 people. I can do that in 16 seconds, copy, paste, send out.
And it's the worst. It's the worst. And you and I talk about it. And ladies, I'm not judging anybody. Everybody has their own methodology, but there are people out there who actually teach that. Okay.
Yeah, there are. Oh, okay. Well, my bad. Okay, this is to not be offensive.
Yeah.
But this is my
100%. And mine. I support
yeah. Olenka, our take on this segment is us coming from the consumer standpoint. And that's something that business owners, I think, forget very, very, very frequently. As a consumer, how do you scroll on social? As a consumer, how do you approach your inbox? If your inbox has 20 new friends, air quotes again, wanting to sell you something, do you feel like, wow, this person's really interested in my well-being and my welfare on this planet? Or do you feel like, I roll, delete? And you just don't, you could have this really great service and you really could know that they actually do want that service. And you didn't even really give it a chance to survive because you got lumped in that spammy category of everyone selling something online now. And then I want to talk about messaging too, because that's the other thing. So a copy paste job, it's pretty obvious. And this strategy that I use, I think is probably the best one. And I like to call it the list. What you need to do, you don't need any money to do this. You need a Google sheet or an Excel spreadsheet. And everyone that you've contacted, say Olenka and I are out and about, we start chatting, we're talking business. She's telling me about her fitness goals. And she's like, oh, I'm kind of stuck, this and that, what's going on? When I go home or maybe in the bathroom, I open the Google sheet and I write that I talked to her. I talked to her about what? I talked to her on what day? What is she looking for? And then I put a potential follow-up date where even if it's your friend, you can say, hey, I remember we were talking at wherever during happy hour, you were saying that you needed X, Y, and Z. How is that going? I know you were going to try some of the ideas that I gave you. If not, I really do think that this one program that I have would be a great fit. That's going to go so much further because it shows somebody a few things. You listened. You did not immediately go in for the kill. You gave them some free advice. It's building trust. And then you mark down when you would go and follow up. You're not going to remember when to go and follow up with somebody off the top of your head as your business grows. So if you get in a habit of doing that, social media or not, in person or not, in person, guys, it's the best way to connect with somebody. There are no distractions. You're having a one-on-one conversation. You have that person's undivided attention. Just mark it down and then you can follow up and go back. And then what I'll do is on the follow-up, when I put the date, I will click the list to organize it in order of dates. And then I will go through on my own and follow up with those people as needed. So you have to remember when you're building your digital business, you are all the departments. You are marketing, you are human resources, you are admin, you are the actual service. So it's like, you're going to have to get as efficient as possible being all of these roles. And if you organize yourself to scale, and when you have a VA come in, you give them the list, they're helping you with some of the follow-ups. You have things organized instead of just this most of my clients have a lot of trouble time blocking and have a lot of trouble organizing their tasks and organizing their businesses. And if you're not organized, time is flying down the drain and you are going to be stressed out and burnt out.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's like you said, by the time you are ready to scale and bring on even interns, team members, or even part-time team members, it's going to cost you double the time because you're now going backwards essentially and trying to scramble and losing people in the process. And I mean, we all know that expression, fortune is in the follow-up, and you and I both have clients and have had clients who just don't follow up, and that's why they lose potential sales all the time. I would say, that first time connection is great, but if you don't follow up, you lose so much money. You absolutely do. So yes, everything Karey said, like, again, I love the fact that she's given you absolutely simple tips. It doesn't have to be anything extraordinary. You don't have to have everything, automated. Yes, of course, we're all driving for that, but you have the basics. These are the basics that are going to they give you successful business.
It's the basics without having to buy any client management software. I mean, if you just get in the habit of typing things down, if you get in the habit of using your notepad, the other thing is content creation. When you're stressed, you're exhausted, it's hard to be creative. If you get in the habit of on your notes, when somebody asks you a question, or when you see something on social that sparks like a response in your mind, even if you don't actually respond, type it down in your notes so that you can go back when you're stuck and you can put content together for the week. Ideally, I mean, Tony Robbins, they say he does his content for the whole year.
Yeah.
Ideally, you just want to get ahead at least a week. Because there's nothing worse than just kind of flying and shooting from your hip, flying by the seat of your pants, trying to make it happen. So if you're not organized in that regard with like, okay, this is what I'm going to do to message people directly. This is what I'm going to do to connect and follow up. And this is what my messaging on social looks like. You need to be really, really specific about what you're messaging. Please don't. The other thing is, I do business consulting work. Olenka does business consulting work. Now, if both of us are posting, hey, I'm a business consulting coach. Like, why do you care? Like, how do you pick? Like, what do? You have no idea.
Yeah.
So you want to solve the person's problem. Talk about the things that you've done. Talk about why you're different and what you have to offer. For instance, I don't do monthly subscriptions. I do packs of calls. So a lot of people find that desirable. The ones that are really busy, they're freaked out about commitment. If they're just starting out, they're slow to get some of these things going. They want to do one call. Maybe they want to do another call in 3 weeks. Cool. Some people function better with month to month because they know that they need that kind of accountability. If 2 people are posting it, you can decide what will be a better fit for you. You don't want people in your program that aren't a good fit because they're going to complain. They're going to be the work of like 20 people. You want to be honest with them. If you know that they're telling you something that you're not a good fit for, just put it out in the universe and refer them to who you know will do them a service. Trust me, it will come back. If I know that somebody's looking for a certain event and it's different than the event I have, then I'm going to point them to Olenka's event and it's going to come back. Like, don't stress about it. Don't be like, oh my gosh, this one person is nearing my worm that's on the hook and I don't want to make any sudden moves because they'll leave. If you just show up with integrity and honesty, that vibe is felt by the other person and it does really, really build trust.
Yeah. Oh God. You literally like ate the words, like got the words out of my mouth. I was like thinking that she's voicing it because literally my next question to you was hoarding clients and saying yes to everything and how much it destructs your business right from the beginning. I mean, it's kind of like what you said earlier. If you have your ideal client, their friends are probably going to be your ideal clients too, versus if you say yes to everything and that build this whatever tribe of concoction of random people who don't even align with you and align with your model, then you very quickly, it becomes a quicksand. You start drowning. And, I get so many clients sometimes who come in, oh my God, I'm drowning in my own business, because even though I have clients, 60% of them are not a good fit. And I'm struggling and they're struggling and everybody's feeling the heat. And it turns into such a quick mess. You definitely don't want that. So yeah, I absolutely love that you touched on that. It's so important.
And the other mistake I see is there's a ton of stuff to make an online business with, right? And that's what's so great about it. And that's what I love. That's why I'm passionate about this. Yeah. I can pick my son up from school. I can drop him off. He's not in after school care. I can go to the Halloween parties. There's a lot of amazing, amazing things. And I know that the vast majority of my clients are talented beyond belief, and they can do a variety of things. Please, when you see the shiny object and you see your friend selling something, you don't have to sell it too, because you're not a flea market. So pick what you're good at and stick with it. The consistency is what is going to build it. And I remember distinctly one of my friends, when I said I want to do online fitness coaching, she said to me, you'll be successful if you're consistent. Mm-hmm. And if there's anything that I can do, is that I can be consistent. And so as soon as I heard that, I'm like, okay, cool. I just have to keep showing up. Yeah. So with that being said, if I sold a fitness program for a month and a half or 3 months and I didn't get a lot of bites, and then all of a sudden I started selling knitted scarves, do I now appear like the fitness specialist? No, I literally appear like, hey, like, what do you need? I got it. Come to the back of my Buick, right? So you want to think about what you're putting out there, because you need to be known as the person to go to for that information. And if you have so many things, all of my businesses stay in the same realm. Mm-hmm. But if you have so many different things and you're dropping one and starting another in rapid fire, you're going to look to your consumer as a little unstable, and they probably aren't going to feel as comfortable purchasing something from you, because every day it's launch, 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 launch.
Yes, every day is a launch day is not a good business model. Okay. This is, it's so true. I mean, I love it. I love the flea market comparison. Absolutely. And it's funny how sometimes I'll get pushback from women and they're like, well, but it's all related. I understand that. Yes, I understand that you could be not selling knitted scarves, but you could sell, hiking socks, but it's still the minute you become stretchy, like stretchy comfort pants, that's not a good thing. So you have to,
maybe you do add things in your realm down the road. But I remember listening to a podcast and this analogy hit home for me so much. You launch one plane before you launch the next.
That's right.
So launch the plane. And by launch the plane, it doesn't mean I have this available next. It means have it available, have it perfected, getting feedback from your clients, having done this over time, master it. Yeah. It's okay to have the same exact service. I love having the same service with 3 tiers, mm-hmm. because it fits different budgets, but that's the same service.
Right.
It's okay to have more than one thing, but you just really want to hone in on one. And like Alenka was saying, if you're stretchy pants and you're a solopreneur, like you're just not going to have enough hours in the day, and then you're going to be unhappy. And if you're unhappy, it's palatable by your clients.
Yeah. Oh my God. So much so, I was thinking I'm spotting Ariana Grande hair today. So I'm like, that's on Thank You Next. It's not good in business. So
it's not good. It's not good.
It's not a good business model. So, but I do want to talk about the last thing you just touched on a little bit. The fact that, yes, you're a solopreneur, you're every department imaginable. You have to stay consistent. You have to deliver for your clients. You have to over deliver almost, especially at the beginning, with the value and the love and nurturing on them. How important is that to nurture yourself? Because you and I have both been there. The grind is real. The grind gets hold the best of us, sometimes. So what's some of your tips to stay, to remind yourself of that self-care? It's not just a hashtag,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, I made the biggest mistake ever when I was starting the fitness business, and I stopped working out. I'll be honest with you. I was like, I'm too busy for this. And I'm telling other people that they have enough time. So this is twofold. I feel like crap about myself. When I feel like crap about myself, I'm just more tired. My mental clarity isn't as sharp. I'm not firing on all cylinders. I can't use my God-given tools to the best of their ability. And then also, I get this feeling of uh, just that I'm not good enough, and people coin it like imposter syndrome or whatever that new disease term is. But you get this feeling of like you're not walking the walk.
Right.
And when you don't walk the walk, it's really hard to tell somebody else to do it because you just, in your heart, most of the people Lincoln and I work with, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably have a heart-centered business.
100%.
And when you're not in alignment on your own and you're telling someone to do stuff that you're not even doing, you feel icky.
Mm-hmm.
So the tips that I have is you need to mark this stuff in your calendar like it's an actual appointment.
Yeah.
There is nothing more important than your health and well-being and your stress management and your overall joy, not even money. So I see so many people chasing the carrot, and people that really, some people really didn't make really anything before this. And then they get really caught up in the next big paycheck, the next big paycheck, the next thing, keeping up with the Joneses, major FOMO. And if you don't carve out time for social time with your friends, you don't carve out time to work out on your own, you're not trying to fuel your body and eat well, you're not getting sleep, you're not meditating or doing any stress management techniques, and you're not looking inside, like this goes with the feedback thing. Yeah. If you're not a person, if you're going to sit there and plug your ears and scream when somebody's telling you that there's something about your program that they don't like, you need to do a little bit of work around that and grow and be open to receive. I know I was really hard to receive compliments, probably for my whole life. I remember my best friend's dad telling me like to stop it and cut it out when I was like 12, because I'll deflect them. If someone's like, you look nice today, I'm like, oh, I look like shit. And, they're like, why don't you just say thank you? So if you're having trouble receiving feedback, receiving compliments, maybe sit there and work on it, practice it. Maybe have a friend talk to you about your program and get ready to hear what they have to say. And then every time you hear a complaint or something negative, and use this in life, use this in relationships, don't even just use this in business. If you hear somebody say something about you that they don't particularly like, sit there and think about, could I do this differently? Don't just immediately be like, oh my gosh, that bee, I can't believe her, here we go. Take a minute and just consider it. And so many doors will open with that, because I think it's hard to hear crappy stuff about yourself. Nobody wants to hear it. It can be pretty painful. But if you get comfortable with it, it becomes less and less painful. It's the same thing with hearing no. I hear no all the time. I'm like, oh, okay. But before, somebody would unsubscribe from my email list and I'd feel like I was going to cry in a corner.
Yeah.
You kind of just build the thicker skin.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like building your muscle, when you go to the gym and building those abs or building those, quads, it's no different, except you're doing it in a mental way. You're getting ready. And I love everything you said, of course, and I stand behind it 1000%, because it's whether it's business or life, those same rules still apply. But yes, I love what you said, that if you don't have peace, money don't matter. And it's really so important. Ladies, I really hope you're listening. I really hope you're going to go check out Karey's page. We're going to put that in. I'm going to put it in the episode notes. Everything that woman does, I adore and stand for, 1,000,000%. So, but before we close out today, Karey, I want to ask you a question. So if there's another boss babe out there who is sitting there right now, and maybe she's a nurse, and maybe she's a stay-at-home mom, or maybe she's just thinking about career change, and she's like, gosh, I just really want to start out on the digital business too, and now she's listening, now she's somewhat inspired. What would be one advice you would give her?
The first thing that I would give, the first piece of advice I'd give everyone is, don't worry so much about the how. Don't worry about the how. If I sat here, there's no way that when I started, I would predict that I would have the services and the concepts that I have at this moment. And I see so many women spending the time that they can use to research how to actually launch this, just in their own heads, like trying to get the map together. I'll tell you the map. It's a big ass squiggle line with no direction. So you might as well just not think about the map and just start focusing on step 1, getting your service in place and what that looks like. Step 2, getting your small group together. And you don't need to quit your job tomorrow. Sometimes I go to different events and I hear them say like, this is not telling you to quit your job or get a divorce. And it's funny because sometimes people really do. It's one or the other, right? They're either paralyzed by analyzing, or they're like, let's do this thing and rip off like every safety net ever and be like, burn all the boats. So in the middle, there's this beautiful, beautiful place of take the first step. You can find so many, if you don't want to reach out to one of us because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tight on my budget, use some of the free content. Go on. I learned how to build a WordPress site on YouTube. So go on YouTube. You just need to set up the basics and then start getting comfortable with your messaging. Can I give them like a couple bucks?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, please do.
Get some books together and start finding out the information there if you're really tight on a budget. Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson is one of my absolute favorites. It makes so much sense with messaging. Persuasive copywriting, building a story brand, and Profit First. Those ones are so helpful in getting yourself organized, how you're going to allocate your funds and how you're going to move forward. And I know that books kind of cost money, but not that much. And you can download them on Kindle or whatnot. It's a couple bucks.
And you can even find some of them for free nowadays online. If you Google and maybe they're not a full book by chapter, you can most certainly find those. I love it. I love it. Oh God, this was seriously like a $10,000 training, ladies. I hope you are writing things down and starting and doing things one step at a time. Just like Karey said, you don't have to focus so much on being overwhelmed and mapping things out for months. I just talked to one of my mentors the other day and I heard him say this brilliant thing that resonated with me so much. I actually just did a video on that, and he said it doesn't take a long time to take action. What takes a long time is basically brain issues and brain talk and brain garbage that you're putting yourself through on the way to take an action. And that takes time. That's where you freak out, build up anxiety, and do all those crazy things. But actually taking action, actually opening a YouTube video, opening a book, like Karey said, does not take a long time. So I'm really, really excited for all of you to implement some of the strategies and tools and tips that she shared because they're brilliant and they obviously work. She's an extraordinary entrepreneur, boss diva, and one of my closest friends. Karey, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, thank you so much, Olenka. I'm so excited about this episode and I hope it helps. You all will have to let us know.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for listening to I Start First podcast. If you loved it as much as I did, feel free to tag us on Instagram at IStartFirst_. Share it with your besties. And if you feel so compelled, give us that 5-star review on iTunes. Till next time, and like always, kick ass and sparkle up.